What is up, everybody? Oh my God, Matt Johnson has left the building like Elvis left the building, and he left me in the control seat. What are we going to do? I don't know, but thank God I have an incredibly awesome guest, you guys. I have Jessica Randolph with us. She is a 30 under 30. She is an incredible agent. She's almost 9 months pregnant. She's working from home. She doesn't give up. Her clients are her number one priority, but she even made time to come on this podcast with us. So Jessica, dude, what's up? I'm so glad you're here today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. My complete and total pleasure. There's a lot of us that don't know you. So tell us, what's the bio on you? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Chicago, and I moved to Nashville when I was 18 and did not know a single person. And I really wanted to restore historic houses, actually. And everyone told me I was crazy because it was, 2009 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would you get into real estate? That's ridiculous. But it was just something I was really passionate about. So I was looking for any sort of outlet to get my hands on an old historic house or just something real estate related. And so that was kind of the start of it. But yeah, I've been in Nashville now for about, I guess, almost 7 years. And it's been a whirlwind since then.
I can imagine. So
yeah.
Walk us through this a little bit. Actually, you know what? Cancel that. We're not going to walk through shit. This is what we're going to do. What we do is we take a question from the Lead Gen Scripts and Objections Facebook page, and I have a couple pulled up here. And, this is going to be a softball for you because I know you already got the answer, probably already locked away in your brain. But I'm going to ask, how's this question for you? This is from Angie Lee. She says, what do you say to a potential buyer who doesn't want to meet in person the first time? What would you tell that buyer?
So they don't want to meet in person at all before going out and seeing houses? Is that the question?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what her question is.
At all?
They don't want to meet in person. So it's basically like a blind date for showing homes.
Oh, absolutely not. If they're out of state, then that's something different. Then I would probably do either a conference or a video call like this would be great.
Mm-hmm.
But just as far as being a woman in this industry, I think it's really important that we meet in a public place or at an office where there are other people first, because if you do end up meeting at a house, you can be in a potentially key situation, first of all, for your safety. But then also you want to get to know your client in person so that you're prepared when you're at a house, or God forbid something crazy happens at the house that's not even your buyer's fault. You have some background on how they're going to react and all that stuff. So I definitely would push to meet in person if you can.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. It's something that what we do a lot is that I use the scripting that, Jessica, I'd love to meet you, at home, but you know what? It's company policy that we first meet at my office. Just so that we can make sure that we can see the most up-to-date homes on the MLS. So before we go out, we might want to see a few others. So let's meet at the office, and then we'll make a decision on what homes to go see. That really saves your bacon. And you're right, as a woman in this business, there's a lot of creepos out there, and you guys need to keep your mind around safety at all times. And so I love that. So guys, that's a script that I really think can keep you guys from getting yourself into an awkward, weird, bad position. But Jessica, kind of take us back to the beginning. Now you recently got the 30 under 30 award. You're part of the illustrious group. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now take me back to the beginning of your real estate career. How long have you been in the business? How did you start? Kind of walk me through that a little bit. So, because we have a lot of agents that are newer or restarting in this business, and they love to know how successful agents like yourself got their start. So where did the genesis of Jessica start?
So if I'm going to go way back, it started about 5.5 years ago. Like I was telling you, when I was 18, I really wanted to get into historic architecture. Mm-hmm. And I knew that going to school was the smartest thing to do, but I didn't feel right for me. And instead, I really wanted to kind of do like some sort of apprenticeship or an internship and get a feel for what I wanted to do before I just signed up for $100,000 of debt and whatever in 4 years of college. Yeah. So I was actually riding my bike through a neighborhood here, and I saw an old house being rehabbed, and I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. So I just called the number on the real estate sign. I was 19 at the time, And I just left this person a voicemail. I was like, hey, I'm really interested in what you're doing at this house. I have no experience. However, I can make a really great sandwich and I can wash your car and I can buy you coffee. And I just want to be in your world and see what it's like to rehab a house and just, get into the whole business of real estate. And I'll do whatever you want for free.
Wow.
And of course I got a call back. I didn't, I'd never done anything like that before. It was like just a gut reaction. I was like, I've just got to meet this person. So they called me back and they happened to be one of the biggest rehabbers in the neighborhood. And they had, about 50 homes going at a time. Well, not at a time. I'd say 50 to 60 homes a year. So they'd have like, 5 or 6 or 7 going at a time. And they said, yeah, sure. Come on. You can come, get lunch with me tomorrow and I'll see how I can fit you in. And they ended up hiring me on the spot to be their designer, which I also had no experience in being, 19. So I was like, yeah, sure. I could be your designer. I've like repainted my bedroom a few times. Let's give this a shot. But they just saw my attitude and I was really willing to just do whatever they wanted me to do. And so they're like, quit your waitressing job. We're going to teach you everything we know about rehabbing houses. And so I started as their designer and I did that. I was their first employee and did that for about a year and a half. And the company grew from me being the only employee to them hiring about 6 or 7 other employees as well. And then they got an office and whatnot. And what happened was I had a house that I was designing or helping to design, and a buyer would walk through and be like, oh, we love it. We want to write an offer. And I was like, great. I don't know how to do that. So I got my real estate license, and that's kind of how it all started for me. So I started, working with those buyers that I had been, interacting with to design these homes for. And then it just kind of grew from there of selling houses for builders or rehab. I started my niche.
So basically what you said, you jumped into this whole industry just in the deep end with boots on, and you had no clue what you were doing, but your enthusiasm, excitement, and just self-drive is what's helped propel you to where you are today. Now, are you flipping homes yourself, or are you predominantly just doing the resale of homes now that you've kind of done both?
Yeah, so actually my husband and I just bought our first investment property here in Nashville, and
Cool.
We're holding it as a long-term rental. Yeah, so we did do a light flip on it. It didn't need a full gut rehab. It just kind of needed some TLC, some paint and carpet rehab is what we'd call that.
Right.
So we did do a little mini rehab on it, and we're renting it out. And yeah, so that's my first one ever. But I one day would love to be restoring historic properties and doing the whole reason I got into this business was to do something like that. And so one day I hope to do that.
To do that. That's awesome stuff. So you got started and you kind of jumped in like we said. So what has been one of your bigger lead generation sources for you, both in the beginning and then now?
Yeah. So like I said, I moved here to Nashville without knowing anybody, and then started working for this rehabber, and I was working crazy hours. So I did not have a social life. I didn't have any sort of sphere. And so I remember meeting with my mentor, who also happens to be my broker. And she's like, write down everybody you know, put them in a database, organize them, and then somehow let them know that you're in real estate. And that's how you're going to get started. And I remember looking at my list of people that I knew in Nashville. I think it was like 7 or 8 people that genuinely knew me and liked me. And I felt like I could reach out to them. And I was like, this is pathetic. So, but what I did have was the builder that I had been working with that was rehabbing houses.
Yeah.
Now they were doing new construction. And unfortunately, Nashville was not ready for the boom that it received. And we started building. I mean, they bit off more than they could chew, I would say. And so what happened was they started building all these homes, and I was the only representative selling these homes. So I'd have, 10 to 15 transactions at a time. And what ended up happening was these buyers had pretty horrible experiences with this builder. It was, whether the house was 6 months late on being finished from when they originally thought it was going to be finished, or maybe the house was painted the wrong color, or maybe their expectations were met for some other reason. And I was the face of this bad builder because I was their only person that they got to meet on site. And so the only sphere I had to work off of were these buyers that in my mind hated my guts because the transaction was just god awful. I mean, I remember sitting in my car outside of a walkthrough just like wanting to just drive away and not even go inside the house because I knew that these buyers were going to be screaming at me for something. So that was my biggest obstacle, I think, when it came to lead generation. I thought, how am I going to get these past buyers to not only like me and hear what I have to say, but then use me as their agent when I'm 21 years old, and the last time they saw me or heard from me, it was in a really negative context. So I had a really rough beginning. So what I did.
I was going to say, yeah, with that rough beginning, I want to go back and I want to touch on a few points. Now, it takes a pretty mentally strong, especially since you're 21-year-old, but it's anyone to constantly have a barrage of shit thrown your direction of negativity. What was your mindset? How did you get over that? I mean, how did you get around that? Most people would just crawl in a hole and cry.
I did that for sure. That helped a little bit temporarily. Honestly, what I did, I just prayed a lot. Honestly, I would pray before going into a walkthrough, or I would pray before my day even started and just ask God to help me deal with these clients in a, professional and kind manner, and just be a blessing to whatever situation was happening. So that helped a lot. And then also meeting with my broker was totally, I'd say, a game changer. I would meet with her and sit in her office and tell her, the latest drama on one of my deals, and she would talk me through it. And it really was hard to not take everything super personally. And that was probably my biggest hurdle I had to jump over, was not knowing that the reason they were upset was not something that I was directly doing. I was just kind of the messenger. Still didn't make it easy, but I definitely. Oh, I just realized my computer's about to die. I'm gonna plug in my. Sorry. Super not prepared. My brain is elsewhere, being 9 months pregnant. Sorry.
Yes, called Prego brain. I've heard of such thing.
Yes. It's a real thing. You just forget everything.
No, it's a funny story on that. Whether you find a plug real quickly. My brother, when he had his wife, they were having their first, she had Prego brain, and it was hilarious because he would tell me funny ass shit. Like, she would just, instead of throwing the eggs out, she'd throw the whole pan out, and then the keys would be in the freezer, and the craziest shit. I'm like, how does that even happen? But it's a testament to you're a hard worker. That's very, very obvious. And I know that you have your clients that are top of mind. And you had some struggles and tribulations and trials in the beginning of your career. What was that one? Where was that first shift where you're like, oh, there's light at the end of this freaking tunnel? I now I'm doing X, Y, and Z lead generation versus just getting them handed to me by a bad builder. What was your first lead generation system that worked, besides getting beat up by angry people?
Yes. So the first thing the thing that shifted for me, I put all those angry buyers, whether they hated my guts or not, into a CRM. I use Insightly. It's free. It's really user friendly and simple to use. I really believe if you're going to use a CRM, use something that you understand and that you like the way it looks and the way it functions. So I really like Insightly. I put all of them in Insightly, and I thought to myself, how am I going to make these people like me? So I just came up with a plan every single month to love on them. And whether it was like sending them, chocolates in the mail, or writing a handwritten note, or leaving a pumpkin on their doorstep for Halloween, or, leaving a really sweet text saying, hey, I just drove by your house and your flowers look amazing, and, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I just started reaching out to these people as if they already liked me and got over my fear of being rejected, which was the number one thing I found that was holding me back in my business. I was so afraid of reaching out, so I just wasn't reaching out at all, and that wasn't generating any business. And so instead, I had to learn the hard way that if I get a slam door in my face, or no, I'm already working with another realtor, or don't call me again, I still hate you, I wasn't going to go home and cry about it. I was going to just remember that actually those negative things were a sign that I was doing something right in my business. And so I had to just make it just business and not take anything personally. So I started reaching out to these people, and I organized it all in my Insightly. So every month it would say, here are the people you have to reach out to this month. And it was all scheduled for me because I had done it at the beginning of the year. And I just started doing it. And at first I had no positive response. Nobody would text me and say, oh, thank you so much for sending me summer seeds in May. I didn't get any real positive feedback. But what happened was, after about 9 months of consistently doing this, I finally got a call from a buyer that I thought, when I answered the phone, I saw them calling me. I thought for sure they were going to be complaining that their roof was caving in or some warranty issue and they couldn't get a hold of anybody else. So I took the call and I was like bracing myself for some horrible information. And they were like, "Hey, Jessica, we got your pumpkin, we got your letter. We actually are thinking about selling our house. And, you know the house like the back of your hand because you walked us through and sold it to us in the first place. And we would love for you to be our agent." And I was just like, "What? Are you serious? I was freaking out. And I was so excited. So I worked super hard, priced this thing out as well as I could. And we put it on the market and we got it under contract in less than 24 hours over asking price.
Wow.
And it was like a total, it was amazing. And they were so impressed that they told their family about it. And their brother ended up calling me like 3 days later. And he's like, "I've got $700,000 to spend. I want to buy a condo. Can you be my agent?" I was like, "Absolutely, I can." So that was, for me, that was just like, it just opened up a whole new world of like, I can do this. And people don't hate me. And it's okay if they do anyways, but I can bring some sort of value and I don't have to be afraid of being rejected. And I just, I start with one, I do one really well, and then I'll work to the next one. And, even if I get 100 no's and then I get one yes, it's worth it.
The amazing thing about you, Jessica, is that your mindset is so positive. What you may not know what you just said, but what you said is something that a lot of people will struggle with for their entire career. You took a sour apple in a sour situation. You said, "Well, this is what I have to deal with. How am I going to make them love me?" And then you said, "Okay, I'm going to start with a campaign. I'm going to do pumpkins. I'm going to do letters. I'm going to do all these different steps," right? Taking to the point of just sending a really, kind text message, like you said, saying, "Hey, look, your flowers look beautiful. Just thought I wanted to let you know that." The power in that is the simplicity, because it's not you didn't overthink it. You just took action. And so many people overthink it. They make lists to make lists to get ready to make lists. And then they never go out to take action on the list that they made because they're afraid of the rejection. And you said, "I don't care if I get 100 no's, that one yes will make up for all of them." And the thing that I'm trying to hammer home here is that everyone who's listening to this, by the way, guys, you got a ton of you guys watching right now. I'm so glad you guys are all here. Spread it out, share this word out, guys. This is a great guest. You're going to learn a ton from this young lady. But the mindset that you had, is that something that you grew up with? Or is that something that you just had to manufacture to become, a success in your business?
I would say that my positivity was something that I really have gotten just from my family and the way I grew up in my faith and my relationship with my dad. My dad's always been almost like a coach for me of just pushing my limits. And like, even when things are uncomfortable, he has been like, "No, you can figure this out. You can do this." I remember prom night, I was 17. My date was asleep in the back of the car, and I got lost like an hour away from home. And and this is before iPhone, so like no GPS. I like thought I knew my way around downtown Chicago. Well, I ended up on the border of Indiana and Illinois, and I call my dad at 4 a.m. My dad's like, "Figure it out." And he hangs up on me. I'm like, "What?" So he forced me. So most dads would have been like, "Oh, sweetheart, I'm going to come get you." Or, "Here, I know exactly where you are. I'll give you directions." And my dad is amazing at directions. He could have just been like, "You took 395 south instead of going north," or whatever. Instead, he's like, "No, you can figure this out." And so I pulled into a gas station, got a map, figured out where I took the wrong turn, and I drove home. And that made me a stronger person. And so I think, that mindset definitely comes from my dad, just encouraging me that you have a brain and you can figure things out. But then also having a mentor was really something that has changed my whole life. I've had mentors and small group leaders and people in my life that I've had since I was in like 7th grade who have just been able to speak life into me and encourage me when I've, become really down. So I would encourage anybody listening, if you don't have a mentor, find someone that you admire and just ask them, be like, "Hey, would you mentor me?" And it's that simple, whether it's coffee once a month or a phone call every 6 months, whatever that person feels like they can offer, just having someone to bounce ideas off of and, learn from and grow from is really powerful. So I would say that that's been the difference maker for me.
Yeah, that's huge, guys, and I'm sure you can agree with me on this one. But please don't make that person your spouse. Okay, those relationships have enough stress.
Yeah.
Please, please, please make it like a best friend or someone in the office and build from there. Okay, so
hmm
what is, I mean, a mentorship, I want to tackle this a little bit. A mentor for you, what does a mentor mean? Is it someone that's just purely doing like coffee or doing something small, or is it someone you can literally lean on? And do you have mentors in different aspects of your life? Because a lot of people that I talk with, what they
Yes.
do is they're never vulnerable. They never allow themselves to be seen less than perfect. Therefore, they'll never reach out and ask to have a mentor, and then they complain that they don't have the knowledge. But it's kind of an evil little cycle that just won't stop going unless they kind of bare their soul to another human being. So what are the qualifications if you were to look back at your 21-year-old self? What would you say to your 21-year-old self and say, look, girly, these are the fucking things that you need to have in someone that's going to propel you further than where you maybe are today or right where you are today, but you can refine it because you can have revisionist history and you can just make it up as you go. So what are 3 or 5 attributes or qualities that you would have in that perfect mentor?
Yeah, I'd say, well, one of the things that you just said brought up the word ego to me. I'd say number one, somebody who's not putting their ego first. And I
Yeah.
think that's the number one killer for a lot of real estate agents out there. It's like, I need to sell 5 million this year. Why? Do you need that much to live? No, it's your ego. And it's really easy, especially when you are doing a good job in real estate, for your ego to build up. So I'd say look for somebody that you look up to that doesn't have a huge ego. Find someone who's humble and who's willing to, when you're crying at their desk, for them to have a tear in their eye too and be like, I feel for you right now. So somebody that can be compassionate, someone that is doing what you want to be doing. I reached out to this girl, Jessie Scarlotta. She's an agent at my office, and she's older than me. She's got children, but she is just killing it. She's got a team of agents underneath her. And I thought, who do I want to be in about 5 to 6 years? And I saw the way Jessie was running her business, and I thought, that is my mentor, because I want to be meeting with somebody who can take me to where they're at.
That's
And
cool.
you don't want to find somebody who is all talk and no walk. Find someone who's already taking action and doing things in their personal life and in their business that you want to start doing, and find them to start mentoring you. So I'd say that that's really huge. Somebody who has similar, not only business qualities, or like, professional qualities about
Mhm.
them, but things that you like in their personal life that are going well too. A personal life for somebody, it says a lot about who they are, and it says a
Yeah.
lot about their priorities, and it really shows their why. If you can see someone's personal life, you really see the why of what they do. So find somebody who has the same why as you. I'm
hmm
not in real estate to make millions of dollars. I'm in real estate because I'm really passionate about people and hospitality and architecture, and it just so happens to also make money, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I enjoy
That's a
it,
great little side
So
effect there. I'm get to make a little shit
yeah,
ton of
so
cash.
find someone who, yeah, I mean, making money is great, and you get to eat and have a place to live, but that's not my purpose in life, and I hope it's not yours either. And so find someone who has the same why as you, and focus on that. And I think somebody who's willing to speak their mind, someone who's willing to say, you know what, you're just being a baby right now, and you need to suck it up. And I remember crying at my mentor's desk and just being like, if I get this walk through, they're going to be so mean to me. And I messed up, and I almost made a $10,000 mistake. And someone just says, you know what? It's okay. They're not going to die. You're not going to die today. Like, this is not life or death. This is just real estate. And somebody who could just be real with you.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's really important in a mentor, is someone who can just speak their mind. So find someone who's got what you don't have, and you know figure
Yeah.
out what it is that you need from
Yeah,
them.
but figure that out. But what you said right there is that, and another good point you brought up is the fact that a personal life is kind of like the eyes that you can you can see the soul of someone through their eyes. You can also see the true character of someone in their personal life, even if they're killing it in the professional life and they got a shitty home life, or they abuse their wife, abuse their husband, they aren't around, they cheat, they're not ethical, they're dishonest. If they're a shitbag at home, then they're ultimately going to be a shitbag at work. And the problem is that a lot of people just put the blinders on and close their eyes to the fact that the people that are getting affected in negative light on the home front, somehow we devalue that, and we inflate the professional accolades that a lot of people receive. Ultimately, that will seep through, and you will become like that. So you're like, oh man, that guy or that gal's got a really crappy home life, but he's killing it in business, man. I want to be that guy. Are you sure you want to be that guy? Are you sure you want to be that? And the people don't sit there and think about it.
I had someone come up to me, and he was actually a good friend of mine. He is just killing it in Nashville, but I don't really admire his personal life. And he offered to mentor me, and I said, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate the fact that you take the time to do that, but I never took him up on it. And one day I kicked myself in the butt. I was like, why did I not have it? And then I remembered, I was like, I didn't want to be where he was at, because it just wasn't a good fit in that way of, like, anyways, I totally agree with you.
Okay, not a problem. So let's do this. So now that you've progressed, we've talked about mindset. We've talked about mentorship. Tell me about your bread and butter clients. Who are the clients that you're going after that you feel that are just being magnetically pulled to you, and that you just consistently see more and more success with? What does that look like in your life, in your location?
So it's been a number of different things. I'd say my biggest bread and butter client would be ages like 28 to 40, people that are, really passionate about their line of work, and they want to be in a short commute to their line of work. So I'd say got people that want to be in the urban core, whether it's like right downtown or within a 15 to 20 minute radius of downtown. And then also, a lot of my buyers are extremely smart. I have a lot of, lawyers and people in healthcare, and a lot of them also want to make sure they're making a smart investment. So I've found not only am I finding them their dream home, but it's always they're looking for a good deal too. So I've found myself working with a lot of those buyers that are looking in the urban core in that age range, but also a lot of real estate investors too, that they're like, I love this house, but I want to be able to sell it for 50 grand in a couple of years. So I want to buy it in an up and coming area. I'm just throwing a number out there.
Okay, Mike, did you just say 50 grand, selling it for 50 grand? What are they buying it for? I'm like, oh my God, that's an investment market.
No, selling it for 50 grand more than what they're buying it for. So something that's going to appreciate.
Okay. I'm like, whoa, flying down to your neck of the woods, and I know my agent I'm calling, we're going to go buy some investment properties. My goodness.
Yes, I'm from the past. I'm from like the 1960s. So
yeah, no kidding. Which that would actually be a really good investment. Okay, so you know your core. You're going 28 to 40. Probably kind of like a young family, growing and expanding, or they're having some sort of shift in life. Has that changed in the last several years since you originally got in the market, or has it always kind of been that same type of person for you?
Well, I'd say it's been that same type, because those were the buyers that were buying the new construction that I was originally selling. That became my sphere. But I'd say as I've grown that sphere, and as I've expanded out to their sphere of influence, like friends and family that, I've sold before with, and I'd say now it's gotten a lot more investor heavy. So I have a lot of people that are looking for some sort of second house or investment property or rental or something that they can flip. So I'd say since I've been doing it for the past 5 years, that's become what's kind of grown out of these new construction buyers. Okay.
Now, were you always shooting to get to this whole 30 under 30 mark? Was this something that you were trying to achieve, or is this kind of just fall in your lap? You're like, oh shit, I won an award? That's cool.
Well, to be honest, I did not even know what it was. And one of my other mentors, you asked me if I had different mentors. I've got like 3 real estate mentors, and then I have like a spiritual mentor who we talk about stuff. One of my other real estate mentors, when I was 21, he came up to me. It was Brian Copeland. If any of you know him, he's amazing. He's up like really well known at the national level of realtors. And he came up to me and he's like, you're going to apply for 30 under 30. And I was like, what? No, I'm not ready for that. No way. And so he's like, well, you just let me know when you think you're ready. And so a couple years went by, really focused on building my business, and kind of separated myself from just being this builder's representative, actually having my own brand and my own thing. And I really wanted it to feel like the right time. And so, yeah, last year I really felt like I was holding my own and had my own clients. And that was when we decided to go ahead and apply. And it felt right at that point because I felt like I don't know, it didn't, I felt like I was too young and maybe I was putting the cart before the horse. And I really, if I was going to win 30 under 30, I wanted to feel like I'd really earned it. And so, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but
it makes sense. It totally does. Yeah, I mean, you're trucking along, doing your thing, keeping your head down, nose to the grindstone, doing your job, what you're supposed to be doing, all that stuff. And someone says, hey, you got to apply for this, and you're so concentrated on what you're doing on a daily basis. You're like, this is stupid. I know. I just want to build my business, and I think it's awesome. You weren't going for the glory. You weren't going for stuff. You're just trying to do your job right by your clients. So, I mean, you got into business. You got into it around 21 years. 21 years old. That's when you got into it, right?
20, yeah.
20. Okay, so you and I got in the business at the same age. What is one of the biggest hurdles being a young person in the business? What are one or two of the biggest hurdles that you were able to overcome? We've already talked about mindset and mentoring and all this other stuff, but I mean, everyone says, oh, how old are you? And you're like 20. They're like, no, you're not selling my house. You're too young. What were some?
Well, then you say, well, that's too bad for you. You're missing out on some pretty awesome, valuable help.
Mindset, drive.
Yeah, I'd say, mindset and drive. I'd say besides getting over the fear of being rejected, there definitely is a setback being so young because I'd say 75% of my buyers could have been my dad. Like, they're in their 50s or whatever, and they're like, you're younger than my youngest kid. Why should I have to listen to what you have to say? And I had to really start sitting down and being like, what do I have to offer these people? And I thought, well, if I'm not going to be able to offer my age or my experience, because I'm not that experienced, then I just want to make sure that I make them good. And so for me, what I focused on, I focused on what I could offer and not what I couldn't. And so I said, I'm just going to be the kindest, most well-prepared, and give them the best service I can possibly give. Because maybe they could use an agent that's been in the business longer than I've been alive, but I'm going to give them way more attention, and I'm going to be kinder and more thoughtful, and I'm going to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks in the transaction and offer everything that I can. Because I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to attitude. And I have worked with agents who have been in it longer than I've been alive. I honestly can say that I think that I've gotten to a place where I can confidently say that I give my clients better service. And so, yeah, if you want to use that agent that wears a suit and has gray hair, that's great. But are they going to fight for you, on a Sunday night when, they're probably already in bed?
Little geriatrics.
Yeah.
Taking their Metamucil and just like rubbing their hips and their back because their new hip isn't setting quite right. Yeah, I know those old geezers.
But to never, diss them in their face. But I definitely think you can spin being young in a positive light and say, hey, I've got a lot of energy. I don't have any kids. Well, gosh, I'm pregnant. So that's about to change. But I don't have any other real distractions right now. And I am very motivated, and I am on top of it when it comes to social media. I've got a network of all these people across the country. There are positive things that you can spin, like, oh my gosh, you're only 23. You're like, what do you mean? It's great being 23. Let me tell you why. Because I actually know how to work a MacBook, and I can send you an iCal invite, and we can do all of our paperwork right here on my iPad instead of going to the office and doing everything by hand, with Mrs. So-and-so. So, there's a way. At the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, you just need to make sure that you're able to fight for your value and know your value. And if you don't know your value, figure it out, because otherwise, what are you really offering these people? So figure out what it is that you do offer and do it really well and do it to your best ability and focus on that and not your setbacks.
Yeah, Vic, this is for you, homeboy. Knuckles to you, big guy. Vic came down from Sacramento yesterday actually, and attended one of my networking events with the Rockstar Connect organization. Which, by the way, guys, if you guys aren't using Rockstar Connect, get your bitch ass over and take a look at Nick and hit me up. I'll get you a connect with him. It is the easiest fucking thing you've ever done on planet Earth, to go have a cocktail and meet some nice, cool people and get business. Rockstar Connect. But Vic came down and hung out with me yesterday, and he just graduated high school, and he's going into the business. And so that's why
great.
I know, isn't he fucking a pimp for that? I love that. Talk about having some brass balls and going after what you love, because that is an uphill battle on a rainy day. But I mean, I like what you said. Know your value. Everyone knows what you don't have. All right, that's years of experience. That's lots of past clients. We know this. It's obvious. There's no wrinkles or no gray hairs. Obviously, you haven't been in the business too long, but because that will come with being in the business, guys. Trust me. But I love know your value. Absolutely know your value. So what was your how long did it take you to get that? Like a day or two, or did it take you like a month to kind of figure this out, or do you already have this brewing in the back of your head? I mean, you're like, I don't know, Greg. Shit.
No, I mean, it took me a long time to really believe, because it's one thing to like write it down on paper, like I can do this and I can do that, like some of the things I mentioned before, but it's another thing to know it here and then to know it here. And I think it took me a really long time to actually believe it and believe that, no, I'm not going to be looked down upon because I'm young, but instead I'm going to set an example for those people that maybe have been in the business for twice as long. I'm going to bring a new edge, and maybe I'm going to teach them something that they don't. And so it really takes some like self-awareness, and I think really believing in yourself, and also just trial and error. I mean, when I got that first listing with that past client and I did a good job and I didn't screw it up and they didn't die and they didn't hate me at the end of it, I thought, okay, I can do this. Like baby steps. It's done. Maybe for some people it's going to happen overnight. For me, it took a couple years. It really took, I'd say, until about a year ago. And I'm still learning too to find my value, but it really took me a long time, I'd say. And it was a process, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without my mentors, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without losing that fear of rejection, I'd say. Because you really do put yourself out there when you start saying, I'm valuable because of this, I'm valuable because of that. Then when anything comes your way that fights against that value or says, no way, you're horrible, or oh my gosh, you just cost me, $6,000 because you priced my house wrong. There's going to be things you need to be ready to protect that value and be able to say, you know what, I did make a mistake and it's totally okay, and move on. And every day is a new day. So starting each morning, reminding yourself of your value and not letting people bring you down.
Exactly. That's why journaling is a hugely important thing. I woke up this morning not in the best of moods, had a challenging evening, let's put it that way. And so I got down and I started journaling and started writing what I was grateful for. And I got into a better mood and what my goals were and reviewing them. And that's, I think, is really important as you guys are newer, younger agents or getting back into this whole industry, understanding your goals, understanding where you're going. Jessica, you knew that you just wanted to have you wanted to do right by your clients. You wanted to treat them ethically, honestly, in the most highest level of professionalism you could possibly ever do. And the money was nice, but you weren't going for, striving for the glory. When the time was right, you're like, look, I am good enough and I do deserve recognition, so I'm going to go for it. So guys, if you want to be a 30 under 30 like Jessica, you have to have your first baby steps, as you move forward, and you have to pick which direction you're going to go in. So this is me just being very curious. You talked about your value as like, hey, look, I know how to do all this iMac book and iMessage and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. What social media have you used that's just absolutely propelled you above the rest of the pack? Are you even using social media? What are you doing? She's looking at me like, I
don't know. Well, I would say that I'm not really a huge fan of social media, to be honest.
Really?
I think there's a lot of things I don't really like about it, and I don't like what it's done for our society in a lot of ways. However, for real estate, unlike any other industry, it is an amazing tool, I would say, to stay in touch with your clients. And for me, I use Instagram and Facebook, and I don't have a Snapchat account. I honestly pretty old school. And actually, I'm not even managing my own social media anymore. I have somebody else doing it for me because I was spending way too much time doing it, to be honest. I'd be at a stoplight or my client's 5 minutes late for showing, and I'd be scrolling through Instagram. And I was like, how much time am I wasting on this thing? And it was actually I realized it was sucking a lot of creativity away too, because I'd be comparing what I was doing during the day or some other way I was being creative on real estate, and I would be comparing myself to other agents. And so I just said, I'm going to leverage this. So I have a marketing girl now. She does all my stuff for me. She knows my brand. I'll give her ideas on things to post, but she does everything, so I don't have to worry about it. Me and my business partner, we created a brand called the Nashville Perspective. And we use that as our social media platform. And so we've kind of branded ourselves as not just real estate agents, but we're experts on Nashville, and we come at transactions, we come at our business with a different perspective in mind and bigger picture in mind and things like that. So our posts aren't just about, oh, we have this new listing. It's, hey, we just met with these awesome neighbors who lived in the neighborhood for 30 years, and here's their story, and they're so cool. And, just different things like that make things personal. But I would say the biggest thing that has helped me in social media is I was really afraid to add, like I said, I had this fear of people that hated me. I was really afraid to add them on Facebook because if you had me on Facebook, there's like embarrassing pictures of me from high school, and, I had braces, I was a total dork, and you don't have to search that far. Because I'm young. So I was really afraid to add these people on Facebook. And then I thought, what am I so afraid of? Why am I afraid of rejection? I'm going to just add them because I want them to feel like they know me. And that's the secret, I think. When I think of marketing in real estate, I think of relationships. For anybody listening and you're thinking, how can I do my marketing better? I want you to just take that word marketing out of your vocabulary and use relationships. If you have a relationship with your client that you're maintaining, that is automatically going to bring you business because they know you and they like you and they know that you're in real estate. So I thought, how am I going to build a relationship with these people? And obviously not go out to coffee every single week with all these people, but social media is a great platform where people feel like they know you and they've never even met you. I'm sure if I stalked your Instagram right now, then maybe I would, know you more. I would know the name of your dog. I would know what you like to do for fun. I know what vacation you just went on and pictures of your family on Christmas. And so I added my sphere, and that was a huge game changer because they started to get to know my personality and they started to get to know my why from my Facebook, and they saw my personal life along with my professional life, and it made them feel like they knew me better. So when they went to call me, it wasn't, oh my gosh, I'm calling this agent from 3 years ago that I don't really remember anything about her. But instead they're like, oh my gosh, hey, I saw your latest maternity pic. Congratulations. Like, I just had a baby 2 years ago, and we have something else to talk about besides real estate. So don't be afraid to mix your personal and your professional life on your social media. I think that as agents, we can just make it a part of who we are. And that's kind of what I've done on there. So that's been the most successful thing for me.
You and I live and on social media the same way. I made a decision about 2+ years ago that I was going to completely throw out my business page. I was not going to do anything with that thing. It was just time suck, and nobody ever looked at it because the way the algorithm has been written, it pushed it to the bottom of the news feeds. And so what I did the same thing you do. I have old embarrassing photos. I mean, they're horrible, but I mean, I leave them on there because I can take them off. I leave them on there so that if people want to stalk me and they want to figure out who I am, who Greg is, I have no problem with that because it's going to do two things. One, we're going to become buddies. Or two, you're going to be like, this guy's a jerk off. I have no desire to be around this guy. Okay, cool. That's fine with me because I probably don't want to be around you either. And you know what? Bye-bye. Toodles. And we can go. My buddy Hank Avix, who is a great coach, he cleanses his Facebook. He encourages people to defriend him and stop following him constantly. He's like, dude, I got thousands of people waiting. So just if you don't like me, you don't like what I'm saying, get away from me. But he's real and he's honest and he blends his personal and his personal and professional lives together. But a lot of times agents are so afraid to do that. They're like, ooh, I have to be Mr. Perfect. No, dude, people want to know you. They want to know who you are at home. Like we talked about in the opening of our show, the personal life and the professional life. If you want to see both sides there, because there's people in my business over here in this area that I have zero respect for because their personal life is such a disaster and it bleeds over into their professional life, but I know who they are behind closed doors. And I'm like, you are a dirty, rotten, horrible human being. Please never come around me. Go ahead.
So can I say a story to go with that? There was this lender in Nashville who I never met in person, didn't know who this guy was, and he started reaching out to me, calling me every month, sending me things in the mail, sending me oh, it's autumn. I'm going to send you a pumpkin spice latte on me. And this guy, almost every week I went to my mailbox, there'd be something in there from this guy. I thought, wow, he really has his systems in place that he can reach out to agents he doesn't even know. And I just kind of wrote it off. I was like, yeah, he's sending me all this stuff, but like, I don't know him. I'm not going to use him, right?
Right.
Well, one day he sends me a personal letter that says like, here's what's happening in my personal life outside of my business, and it's showing him he had been fostering four brothers, like from ages 3 up until 10. Him and his wife had been fostering them, and like just wrote like a quick blurb of like, this is what's happening in my life when I'm not at work. And and I'm a very busy girl. I mean, especially with how many transactions I had going at that time. Like, I did not even have time to call my mom. But I sat and read this entire 8.5 by 11 personal letter and was so moved by this guy's personal life that now he is my go-to lender. I use him for everything. We ended up getting coffee later, and I thought, you've been reaching out to me for a year. I'll finally get coffee with you. And I finally responded. And it was because I was really touched by who he was. And yeah, maybe I can get a better rate somewhere else. Maybe there's somebody who has a cooler office. But he is somebody I really liked and respected on a lot of different levels. And so I send all my buyers to him every single time. And it was that personal why that I saw that I liked. And that's why I used him. And there are so many other realtors out there that you're competing with. There are so many other realtors that probably do a way better job than I do, but at least my clients are going to know my why, and that's going to be a bigger reason for them to use me than anything else. So
it is a big thing, guys. So what I'm going to strongly encourage everyone who is watching this live or is listening to this on the the recorded version, you guys, I dare you, I double dog dare you to go out there and just kind of open up the kimono a little bit, let people into your world, let them see behind the curtain, but because the people that you want to be around are probably around you all over the place. They just don't know what you do on the side. Now, don't go bragging about it, but let people in. So they'll be like, oh my God, dude, I didn't know Jessica did blah, 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 blank, blank. Dude, this chick is cool. Yeah, I'll use her for a real estate agent versus my brother because my brother's a douche. No, don't do that. But, you build and foster the relationships and then expose them to the world, because there's a lot of good people out there, but they are afraid to show it for criticism in some way, shape, or form. But Jessica, we're going to put a bow on this thing. So, hey, give everybody an idea where they can reach out to you if they have absolutely just been mesmerized by what you've been saying. They're like, oh my God, I'm in the Nashville area. I have to use this chick. How do they reach you?
So you can email me. My email address is jessica@thenashvilleperspective.com. Not the part, just jessica@thenashvilleperspective.com. And you could also, if you want to give me a call or text me, I'll give you my phone number at 615-319-1390. And you can text me and ask me advice. If you're in the area, I'd love to grab a coffee. I'm all about agent to agent coffee dates, because I think it's really powerful to bounce ideas off each other and make it less of a competitive business, but more of people supporting each other and being on the same team. And so I have a ton of agent friends, and we meet all the time and have breakfast together once a week, and it's really helpful. So if you ever are stuck or need advice or want to hear my biggest mistakes so that you feel better about yours, I'm sure I can have horror stories that'll top yours any day. So give me a call.
I love that. Guys, she's serious. That's why she's on a 30 under 30. She's a hustler. She's a grinder. She's a good, kind soul, and she'll take good care of you guys if you want to invest or anything else. Get a hold of her. She's amazing. Now, guys, this show is sponsored by Get Now Business. It is the class that Matt and I put on. It is where you guys, for $297, you'll have access to all of the library of all of our past recorded and all of our future recordings of the show. It's a 4-week course that we do live on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we're going to show you guys how to, if you don't want to door knock, if you don't want to cold call, and you have $500 or less a month in advertising and spend for your business because you're getting back into the business, or you're just broke and you can't go out and do what the mega teams are doing, Matt and I will show you the things that are hiding literally in front of your face. You can literally go and put into action and get a commission within 90 days if you just listen to what we're doing. So guys, it's Get Now Business. We got a lot of exciting stuff. We have more great guests coming up here in the next couple of days and weeks, so stay tuned. And Jessica, don't go anywhere. But you guys, everyone else is listening. We've had a great time. Jessica, any last words before we get out of here?
No, God bless you guys. Good luck out there.
All right, guys. Until next time, peace out, ninjas.